To start this project, you need a square piece of paper. Now, if you don't already have a square piece of paper, here is a quick trick to making something square. Fold diagonally across the piece of paper till you come to the other edge, crease to make a perfect right triangle. You're going to use this new edge to create your square. Just trim off the extra paper, and you will have a perfect square when you open this back up. So starting with the square, fold in half to create a triangle. Always start by getting your ends together and then slide your fingers back to the crease. Don't try to start a fold with a crease. Start with the ends. So that was the second time we folded. We're going to fold one more time. Third fold, again into a right triangle. Each time you've folded, you've made a right triangle. That's important. I'm going to turn it so that right angle is facing up. Now it's time to write your name or whatever word you're going to use. Now the trick is stretch your letters all the way to the top and the bottom. So my R is now bigger than my M, that's fine. Just drawing simple letters right now. We'll make them snazzy in a minute, but I'm making sure each letter touches both the top and the bottom. Now we've got to turn these into block letters. So I'm just kind of creating a sort of outline around that regular basic letter and turning these into shapes instead of lines. Okay, these will be letters with space inside of them, so they are shapes. I'm just doing this quickly. Do whatever works. You can do more bubble letters or something with a little more flair to it. This is just a basic block letter. Making sure things go actually off the edge as I create these block letters. You want the letter shape to actually break the edge. I'm going to outline this with Sharpie. And notice I am not going over the ends. I'm letting that letter shape go off the edge of the paper. That's super important. The letter cannot be complete. You have to leave it open on the top and the bottom somewhere. That'll help make everything interconnect later. It'll make a little more sense in a minute once we get to creating some reflections. So again, just tracing over my pencil lines, making sure I'm going all the way to the top and the bottom and leaving part of that letter shape open, not actually completing it. Boom. There we go. There's my word. Fills most of that space, goes from the top to the bottom. I'm going to open this back up for you so you see where our artwork actually went. We just filled in one of the 8 triangles. Now I want to get this artwork reflected onto the side it touches. So I'm going to fold the paper back in half. You might have to recrease things. And now I can kind of see my letters through my paper. You are going to trace what you already drew. Now, if you have a nice dark surface to work on, a lot of times you can actually see through your paper, which is great. Sometimes it's a little harder. If you're having a hard time seeing through the paper, I would suggest holding it up against a window, and you will be able to see through your paper much more easily as long as there is some amount of light coming through that window. Otherwise, use a light box, and I'll actually show you in a minute how to make a light box out of objects you might have at home. But for now, I'm just working on seeing what I can see through the paper, tracing it, recreating it in reverse. Yes, your letters will be backwards. Okay, if your letters are not backwards, you're doing something wrong. Half of your letters will be backwards in this project, which is kind of the fun part of it. But just do your best to copy what you see beneath your paper. They actually interconnect. Now, I goofed a little bit. I was not precise there. That might happen. We'll fix it a little later when we add color. This tracing process is a lot easier if you have light coming up from underneath your paper. So I'm going to make kind of a jury-rigged light box. This is a glass desktop. So I'm putting, this is actually a hiking light, underneath the glass. Okay. So I've got it under the glass. I'm going to put a piece of paper over top of it to kind of help diffuse the light. You can do this on your window. when it's sunny out. You won't even need any extra light. Just use your window. Honestly, the best way. But my improvised light box will do the trick for today. So I've opened it up so I can actually see two sections. No reason to trace one section at a time. I can go ahead and trace both of these sections together. So here we go. And I'm really making sure that my letter shapes are interconnecting now, making it look as though they are one solid shape, not individual ones. Watch when you get to the edges of your paper. Make sure that you are ending those lines at the appropriate place so everything interconnects neatly. Once you have half of this done, you can trace the entire other half at once. It's pretty handy. Now it's time for color. I'm going to treat each letter as one area of color. So all of my M's, all of my R's, all of my S's, all of my B's, all one color. I used all hot colors, so they kind of all go together, and then I'm going to use a nice dark cold color to make everything pop. This dark color is also helping me hide any little imperfections or misalignments. So it's always wise to incorporate at least one nice dark color for fixing any oopses. And there you go.